JTA sued for accepting government wage offer. The union representing teachers in Jamaica is now entangled in a lawsuit filed by a former president who aims to nullify its current 3-year wage agreement with the government according to court documents. Lasandra Harrison, immediate past president of the Jamaica Teachers Association JTA, contends in the lawsuit that the virtual special delegated vote held in March last year to accept the wage offer presented by the Minister of Finance and Public Service was in breach of the JTA's constitution. Section 14 of the JTA Constitution explicitly states that voting must be carried out by the Assembly of Delegates at a physical location and not virtually, she asserted in an affidavit obtained by reporters. According to the lawsuit, Section 14 is similar to Section 13, which deals with holding the union's annual conference. In both instances, the delegates can only vote with their physical presence by a show of hand or where secret ballots are permitted. The claimant therefore contends that the acceptance of the present salary package given to the members of the JTA is void on the basis that the JTA was not properly constituted in carrying out the vote to accept the government's offer, Harrison argued. The virtual conference, where delegates voted to accept the government's wage offer, was chaired by Harrison in her capacity as JTA president at the time, according to members of the executive. She acknowledged in the lawsuit that it was her proposal for the conference to be convened online, but said this was based on advice from the Secretariat. Harrison noted too that online meetings and conferences was a practical way throughout because of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the onset of the pandemic in March 2020, the government enacted rules under the Disaster Risk Management Act (DRMA) that, among other things, placed limits and included night curfews. These were withdrawn in March 2022, a year before the now contended virtual special delegates vote was taken. The lawsuit, which was filed in the Supreme Court last Wednesday by the law firm Hugh Wildman and Company, seeks 5 declarations including an order that the voting that took place during the Special Delegates Conference on March 12, 2023 was unlawful because it was not in keeping with the constitution of the JTA. Further, Harrison wants the court to declare the result of the poll null and void and of no legal effect, claiming that the delegates did not vote in keeping with Section 14 of the Constitution of the JTA. Approximately 80% of the delegates who were present voted to accept the 3-year agreement, which became effective April 1, 2022. It includes a guaranteed 20% minimum wage in basic salary after tax deductions. Harrison raised eyebrows at the time when she walked out of the contract signing ceremony at the Finance Ministry's downtown Kingston office, leaving other members of the JTA executive to sign. The lawsuit also seeks a declaration that the constitution of the JTA does not provide for a special meeting to be conducted by online voting, and a declaration that under the JTA constitution, a special conference must be convened with the physical presence of all delegates participating in the vote and not by virtual voting. Incumbent JTA President Leighton Johnson confirmed that he is aware of the lawsuit but declined to comment. This is a case pending, so I will not make any comment at this time, he told reporters when contacted on Friday. A legal victory for Harrison could present a dilemma for over 30,000 teachers, including the former JTA president, who have already received billions of dollars in salary and retroactive payments under the new wage pact, one veteran educator opined. The 3-year agreement is scheduled to end next March. Over 30,000 teachers have been impacted by this negotiation. If she gets all the declarations being sought, what would be the remedy? How would this issue be resolved, the educator questioned. However, according to one senior attorney, the salaries and retroactive payments made to teachers under the 3-year pact would not be impacted if the court sides with Harrison. It would certainly affect the decision and everything will be nullified, but I don't think the salary increase would be affected because the government's process for giving the salary increase was perfectly in accordance with the law and valid, stated the attorney, who did not wish to be named. What would have been invalid is the approval and vote of the JTA. Harrison disclosed in her affidavit that in the days after the Special Delegations Conference, she sought and obtained a legal opinion regarding the legality of the vote to accept the wage offer made by the Finance Ministry. According to the former JTA president, the legal advice indicated that the vote was not in keeping with the JTA's constitution. Harrison said she alerted JTA Secretary General Dr. Mark Nicely of the irregularity and followed up with an email dated March 31 last year. She said Nicely responded via email the same day, but details of his response were not included in the affidavit. 15 health centers reopen in Clarendon. 15 of 32 health centers across Clarendon have resumed operations following the passage of Hurricane Beryl over a week ago. Acting Parish Disaster Coordinator for Clarendon, Mr. Thomas, says 31 were closed following the hurricane. Among the reopened facilities are Spalding's, Tweeted Side, Milk River, and Maypen Health Centers. Thomas gave the update on Thursday at the sitting of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. He said health centers, emergency shelters, and a police station are among public facilities damaged in Clarendon during Hurricane Beryl's passage. Thomas said the roof of the external police station in Racecourse was damaged, prompting the relocation of operations to the Lioneltown police station. Those too, that 25 emergency shelters were activated, providing refuge to some 277 residents. More than 30 residents are still being housed at a shelter in Rocky Point, having lost their homes to the hurricane. One resident remains at a shelter in Portland Cottage. The parish of Clarendon, particularly the northern and southern belts, experienced significant damage including downed trees and utility poles, blocked roads, and flooding. There was a considerable amount of damage to the housing. Initial assessments reveal that Mitchelltown, Rocky Point, and Portland Cottage were the worst affected, he stated. Several farmers in the northern sections of the parish suffered tremendous losses, according to Thomas. Councillor Barneswell disclosed that the section of the shelter of Portland Cottage Primary was damaged, while Councillor Carlton Bailey noted that damage to Milk River and Rest Primary schools. Bailey expressed concern about whether the schools would be repaired in time for the new term in September. The party's acting Chief Engineering Officer, Clifton Watson, reported that over 233 roads were significantly damaged, including those in Cockpick, Banks, and Coffee Peace in the northern section of the parish. JDF playing critical role in recovery efforts after Hurricane Beryl, says Prime Minister. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Jamaica Defence Force JDF is playing a critical role in efforts to assist Jamaicans to recover from the impact of Hurricane Beryl, including assisting in security, humanitarian relief, and the rebuilding process. The Prime Minister was speaking during a visit to the JDF's First of Response base of Portland Cottage in Clarendon on Saturday. In his address, Holness said Jamaica has a well-established disaster preparedness response mechanism, which is coordinated through the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. The Prime Minister noted that ODPEM coordinates with several ministries and entities, including the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, the Ministry of Health, local municipal authorities, the police, and the JDF, which all feed into the country's response mechanism governed by the National Disaster Risk Management Council. So the JDF acts as a multiplier of the responses that may exist in the standing agencies. For example, the JDF will be assisting with the humanitarian relief, the JDF will be assisting with the assessment. I give you a particular way in which the JDF has assisted. There is no reason why the Ministry of Labour and Social Security should have a drone, but the JDF has those capabilities, and so they deploy their drones to be able to do rapid aerial assessment and has already enhanced our capabilities and to get granular and to see the scale of damage, Holness noted. The Prime Minister disclosed that he met with most of the stakeholders involved in the Hurricane Beryl recovery efforts and clarified their roles and responsibilities. The JDF is not going to be leading the response. The JDF is there to support the response. So all the line entities have the responsibility to both define what the functions and roles are and to actually lead them, and the JDF will act in support. Nevertheless, the JDF does have the residual responsibility for the security of the area, Holness commented. He further stated that the JDF is present in Rocky Point, Portland Cottage, Mitchelltown, and Lioneltown, along with other areas of the island, to give the assurance that there will be maintenance of law and order. We would not want the terrible disaster to be compounded by a break in the law and order. That would be just tragic. Therefore, the JDF is here also with the support of the JCF to ensure that this area remains stable and in good public order. Outside of that, the JDF will also assist with reconstruction. We had a very detailed discussion as to how they will work, and we will make these details public very shortly, the Prime Minister stated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.